know why. Someone else came on today at Qigong, and the whole thing got. I'm sorry. You're not the one.
You have to leave the noise. Yeah, that's okay. Just one. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare
So welcome everybody to our little seminar. We'll just stay focused inside for a little while. It's quite amazing how the voice can just bring us into awareness. Huh? The sounds, the vibrations. Just a little before I forget, there's Taisito is going to be not this weekend, but next weekend at the Lama Norla's Monastery in Wapajas Falls, and the program really looks fantastic. It's going to be 2 days. It's not going to be a social event. It's going to be 2 days of teaching and empowerments, all from the Shagpa tradition, that ancient tradition that arose out of the Bon tradition in the 11th century, and the Kagyus picked it up, and all the way through it's very, very powerful. It's very tiny, and to have those empowerments, those lineages are really great. But it's going to be 2 days of teaching, and really it should be really great. Hope you guys can get there. I don't know that. I go to the website and you can ask them that, okay? I doubt if they're going to broadcast Taisito. They may. I don't know. So, yes. Yeah, they're on the website, and they're all Shagpa empowerments of a wide range. None of the ones we've received here, but it should be pretty cool. I'll bring them next week too. So actually talking about, our little seminar is called, it's actually on awareness, isn't it? Huh? From a lot of, and so we study stuff from Buddhism, but actually it's not for the sake of Buddhism. It really is because for the sake of expanding and understanding awareness. And we study from phenomenology and different characters there, and it's really not to be anemic academic phenomenologist, but really to have that facility and understanding of what it is to enter awareness of awareness, huh? And also what that means in terms of therapy and just whatever work we're in our life. Because the instrument is always ourself at some point in all of this, right? And then also from psychoanalysis and Winnicott and people like that. But the constant theme is one way or another elaborating and deepening our understanding of awareness. And we've been focusing a lot of late on the different dimensions of awareness. There's that pure awareness that Husserl would say, what is the wonder of all wonders? Pure consciousness, and the doorway is our own subjectivity, huh? And just that pure potentiality, potential space, pure no-thingness, from which everything and anything arises, huh? And also from the next dimension manifesting the archetypal dimension, vortexes, energies, elements, space, radiance, huh? And we've been focusing a lot, especially in the summer, on that and working with that with each other, including doing a little bit more individual work, because sometimes it takes a little while to get a hang of it, so to speak. But we all know when we're in the field together, if we see something, hear something, experience it from within ourselves, not just our mind alone, then it's more probable that we can start to bring that forth in our own self, in our own work, through the indivisible connection. And also we worked a lot this summer with some people on the internet, and sure enough, it's just like being here or me being there, which is really, really cool. And so everybody is in the seminar, whether here physically or not. And also ask everybody, if you're not able to come for some reason, please email me. Okay, that's really like a little necessity. And the other necessity, everyone really has to practice meditation, because without that, then this is just rhetoric and entertainment, which is not bad, hopefully, but it's really not going to bring forth why we're really here. And of course, everyone has their own understanding and their own mind and their own opinions on all of this, right? So I'm going to read something from the 17th Karmapa, and actually repeated from Lama Justin Wall, one of Lama Norla's lamas who I know. In the 21st century, if a Dharma practitioner only looks at things from a Buddhist perspective, it's a sign that this person has not analyzed the situation well. You can hear the Brahma, but that's how he is. This is not very beneficial. It's actually very, very important that the Dharma be in harmony with the larger society or culture in which you live. And that is being a humanitarian, huh? The essence, huh? Therefore, I do not rigidly conform my own Dharma practices to the rules dictated by any one tradition. Instead, I practice whatever form Instead, I practice whatever from other traditions is clearly beneficial. I believe that others should practice in this way as well. I do not have the personality in order to only practice Dharma according to one tradition and its rules and its regulations. Since the benefit of beings and of our students and friends is the foremost goal, it is therefore not absolutely necessary that everything we say in our teaching or in our understanding be in line with the Buddhist philosophical doctrines. He's really cutting through. We talked about Dharma not being dogma. This is so because it's possible for some students, people, not to receive much benefit from the presentations given strictly on the basis of traditional Buddhist philosophies, ideas, and even methods. Therefore, even if one is trained as a teacher of the Bodhidharma, one should still keep in mind the important point. Can we turn the air conditioner off, if you don't mind, up there? Just it turns those little buttons around someplace. Therefore, even if one is trained as a teacher of the Bodhidharma, one should still keep in mind the all-important point that one must use all the means at your disposal, be they Buddhists or non-Buddhists, to bring benefit to the people that one is teaching or one is with. This means that for bodhisattvas, there are lots of things to learn besides Buddhism. Basically, there is nothing that does not become an area of study for a bodhisattva. The reason that bodhisattvas have to study in so many areas is because they need to work and relate to the needs and interests and abilities of all the different people in order for those people to attain genuine and ultimate happiness. Happiness, the goal. Happiness. Whatever major or minor methods for accomplishing happiness there are in this world, we must have respect for all of them. Not only must we respect them, we must learn and engage in those methods when appropriate, when they're useful, when they fit. We should be ready to engage in whatever methods can help us in helping others and leading others to genuine, authentic, ultimate happiness. If we know how to use a given method skillfully, we can transform any method into the support for accomplishing genuine happiness. There's a universal person speaking here, huh? So whether they are from the Dharma of the mundane world, we must pay attention to and study all the skillful methods available to you. We might think that some methods, since they do not fit snugly, great word, snugly, within Buddhist philosophy, are useless, or are they to be abandoned. However, if we abandon them, we will not only be doing so because these methods do not seem suitable to us, not because of our concern for others. this is really unacceptable. Those very methods could become genuine conditions that help lead many other sentient beings, persons, to the state of genuine and authentic happiness. Therefore, we must remember it is important to be inclusive as a teacher or as a person. Since individual beings have thousands of ways of thinking and acting, it's impossible for us to teach on one single method of accomplishing happiness, and to have that method speak to all ways of thinking beings. Actually, the Karmapa, someone was telling me, was having all the people that he is responsible for read the history of Buddhism and their own history. Because usually a lot of people don't do that, and it was very, very... And he would have people meet with him, and different lamas would come and reading the history and everything that took place. Because it's very easy to stay, all of us, solipsistic, right? Now, having said that, glad everybody's here. Let's extend to each other. And I received a wonderful gift from Lama Norla in the monastery, right over there, Tara. She's very, very beautiful. See her right over there? Could you pick her up? Could you show her? Pick her up. Yeah, great, thanks. Yeah, they're right there. Yeah, that's who. That's her. Yeah. And this bigger just show people. It's really quite, and lots of energy, and all these icons. Really, or they're like little doorways, iconic ways of entering into the energy, into the light. And so thank you so much, hon. So I'm going to read a little invocation today to Tara as a way of welcoming her here. Though she's also over there, and she's over there. It's a white Tara, green Tara. And all these are not like little people. Really, they're these powerful dimensions of awareness. And in that dimension, known as Zambogakaya dimension, the archetypical dimension, these elementals, energies, vortexes, but tones. They have tones to them, tones, affective tones. They have tones to them. And then they manifest as us and manifest everything. So one of the ways of working with the different archetypical experiences, and sometimes some of us people can actually experience them apparitionally, depending on culture, because all this is culture bound, right? It's awareness manifesting through mind, awareness manifesting through cultural mind. So depending on the cultural mind, different figures will come. For some it's a mountain, right? Water, snakes, beautiful faces, rotten bodies in a burial ground, But these tones. So part of the practice is to have the power of invocation, the power. And just like I mentioned initially, the Bon tradition was one of the first traditions that arose in Tibet. From that, the Nyingma and others came later. But there were traditions arising out of shamanism. There's a great book called The Civilized Shamans, which is an exquisite history, it's a very smart history of the arising of Buddhism and through the history. You see the same thing in Hinduism, but the power is the power of invocation, the power of invoking. So it's not like we're begging Tara. So sometimes begging is an invocative power. You with me? But the power of invoking this dimension that's within us at some level, and invoking and bringing forth this dimension of the energy, and this is honoring the feminine dimension, of the great compassion as timeless awareness and as healing. Tara is the divinity of healing energy. That making sense what I'm saying? Because how you look at an archetype is useful or sometimes unuseful. So it starts off this, and this is from Kunzen Dechen Lipa, great master who came here a number of years ago, 2006 I think it was. So let's lean into each other. You lean into me, and we always know by this little extension of awareness. It's a very simple way to open the doorway of non-duality. within duality, huh? Because there's always duality within non-duality, and non-duality within duality. And when you cut one side off, and not holding the great paradox, then start limping. Namo, I experience this original state of bliss and openness as the Dakini, the goddess of long life, as my own face, as my own face. And in this way I go for refuge. So it's just not, it is the pure awareness, but it's also embodied as flesh, huh? Our own face. So to protect or to perfect samsara nirvana as the essence of the three dimensions of enlightened presence. And again, they always go back to these three dimensions. One is pure awareness, as they call it, dharmakaya, creativity, pure openness, creating everything and anything, huh? Manifesting. Then the second is the archetypical dimension, the energies, vortexes, light, forms, deities, devas, dakinis, experienced apparitionally. Apparition doesn't simply mean seeing, it also has felt sense and tones, its presence in our body. And third is then in this dimension, ordinary life, the presence of everything and anything. So I bring forth this attitude of enlightenment, this inherent liberation from the very first beginning of my beginning. So all phenomena I'm focusing on all phenomena. And I embrace the ultimate essence of all phenomena. And I offer this adornments of absolute reality, these manifestations of reality that has the power of radiance. So this is a text on radiance. So I'm invoking the power of radiance. I'm learning how to do that, to invoke states and I'm learning to invoke the archetypical dimension in myself and my circumstances. And I can say that there is this vast and innate freedom that's opening for me, for us, that's free of obscurations. Huh? It's the invisible is becoming more visible. Constant theme, invisibility becoming visible. And I rejoice, I'm so happy in the timelessness and this primordial completion of all phenomena. So it means I'm experiencing timeless awareness, and I'm experiencing everything and anything through this field of timeless awareness in time. And so I'm turning the wheel of Dharma, where I can experience phenomena beyond concepts. And in this phrase, it's saying, I'm in phenomena and experiencing phenomena non-conceptually. I'm experiencing, gazing everything non-conceptually. I'm not seeing it through mind. I'm perceiving directly, non-conceptually. It's like suspending mind, gazing. And I'm remaining here It's always the remaining is the issue. Remaining here in this awareness, sustaining it in this very quintessence of primordial deathless awareness. Meaning is the anti-timeless awareness. They call that deathless awareness because at this moment, annihilation anxiety and those primordial anxieties begin to dissolve. And it's deathless awareness. In this moment, there is no death. I may be exchanging this body, but ahama, I'm aware. And then it says, I dedicate this profound and inherent freedom from virtue and obscuration. It means I'm freeing myself from virtue and from obscuration. I'm going beyond that dominance, which is the great perfection or great liberation. The great perfection doesn't always necessarily speak about realization. It does speak about liberation. And may this primordial state become fully manifest in me. Then this is where you start to generate the deity or the archetype. You start to bring that up now. In the center of this unborn expanse of the primordial ground. So the great expanse is never born. And so in this great unborn expanse of this primordial ground, this unborn space, this foundational space that I am. So I'm not in my mind anymore. By becoming aware of awareness, this is now manifesting in me. This ceaseless and this spontaneously arising domain of utter perfection, radiance, manifesting everything and anything. So I'm staying at the level of the radiance. I'm perceiving at the level of radiance. I'm experiencing the different dimensions at the level of radiance. And this is adorned with all the forms of sensory enjoyment. It means I'm experiencing the sensuousness of embodiment. And this is a sensuous world, It's pleasurably sensuous, it's painfully sensuous, it's ambiguously sensuous, but this whole world of embodiment is a sensuous dimension. And I'm experiencing this sensuousness from this place. I'm embodying it. I'm resonating. Then there arises at this moment, upon a throne or a seat of the white lotus and moonlight. And the white lotus is this place of origination, and it symbolizes origination, but it also symbolizes a freedom from circumstances and freedom from being located in the mind alone. It's like freedom, liberation from the beginning. And the moon is light, and it's often the maternal light. It's soft, luminous, nurturing. And in the center of this lunar disk that stands behind it, there's a white tam, T-A-M syllable, tam. And from this syllable streams forth light rays. So there's this syllable, tam. There's always these essential syllables, aham, ram, we're hearing primordial vibrations, tam. And out of this, rays of light extend, the great compassion light extending, and then it comes back. Just like we know when we extend, you feel it coming back to you. Ah, the white Tara, the mother of all the victorious ones, the life-bestowing goddess appears as crystalline light. So we're relating now to that dimension that is life-bestowing, vitalness, the vital energy, the vital light. Sometimes it's described as the diamond-like, indestructible light. And her complexion is the color of this white crystalline light. Sometimes people see that, this white crystalline light coming through everything and anything. And she's peaceful, and she's smiling very directly. So now you see they're placing, it's emerging as a human form for this moment. It's coming through mind, cultural mind. And she's adorned with silken rolls and jewel ornaments. Sometimes she appears more contemporary than this. She has one vase, two hands, and exquisite eyes. And she's seated with her legs crossed in the Vajra posture. And she's holding the upala flowers, healing flowers, with between her thumb and forefingers in both hands. And she's making gestures granting protection and turning of the wheel of Dharma, the unfolding of Dharma in our life. The unfolding actually of happiness and protection, compassion. As countless rays of light, the great experience of bliss, of appearance, and openness, indivisible. So out of this primordial openness, appearances arise, and it's completely indivisible. Just like we've heard the thing form and formlessness, the later ways would be rather form and emptiness, form and light, in indivisibility. Streaming in all 10 directions, so the radiant light expands in all 10 directions, the life force. So actually when we're expanding this light, we're expanding vitality, we're expanding the life force. Not unlike this morning doing Qigong, the light force and the light. And then we both expand it, and we receive it, and we metabolize it. So the metabolization issue takes place also. Sometimes the energy just hits us and we don't metabolize it right. Or it hits us and we're not used to it. So we go through all kind of movements and we're jerked around, thrown around, because we're not quite metabolizing the energy. So at times when you first have the awakening of the Kundalini, there's a lot of extraneous movements and things like that, which is the energy stretching us, and it's not always easy and a little stretchy here and there. But as we get a little more practice and the awareness itself, we start embodying awareness and residing in awareness, the metabolization of awareness starts metabolizing energy from all around. So we start getting stronger and more vital. Even though we may be on the way out. So it's streaming in 10 directions. And then she has this retinue of the Dakini energy, the Dakini field, the feminine field, and all this sphere, S-P-H-E-R-E. So it's like a sphere in a field. That's all the directions, energy. And sends forth as light and rays to fill the space. So it becomes pervasive. Let's extend this to each other. One of the secrets of the practice of extension, outside what's being mentioned here, is that actually by extending itself, the secret means timeless awareness rises more and more in us. And Yangtze Rinpoche mentions that. So the more we're extending, like extending with the gaze or extending the energy, the light, the more this practice, the more we're embodying it into what's happening. Also, the timeless awareness becomes more and more apparent, more visible. Say yes if you understand that. And then it also says all the different beings of primordial awareness become merged more with us. So the beatific energies become more inseparable. You start feeling more of these energies accompanying you. Tam ke me ying, la ke me sao. The ceaseless manifestation from the realm of the unborn. So all this, even at this moment as you and I are sitting here, is a ceaseless manifestation from the realm of the unborn. It's always manifesting right now. You know, we think about history being an historical unfolding since whenever you came in. But actually, that particular linear thing is not as accurate as the manifestation of what's happening right now. You with me? Always ceaselessly manifesting and moving. Huh? And the primordial awareness of this bliss openness, the God of long life, manifest as this. So as you and I focus simply on this bliss, openness, radiance openness, within ourselves or in each other or wherever, there's a vitality that arises. Then it says, beloved mother, the white Tara, so focusing on the form of the mother, great mother, please come, both in your own manifestation along with your retinue. It means I want to live in this realm. I want to be in this realm. I'm invoking this realm within myself and my circumstances, or within myself and another, right? And if you think this is impossible, it will be impossible. If you think this is not possible, you open the doors to possibility, potential space. And if you think and you have some confidence, bold confidence, and you take that confidence, and confidence doesn't mean you're certain. Confidence means you're going to do it. You follow me? There's a difference between certainty and the confidence I'm going to go for it. It's like being in a fight sometimes with a person. You don't know if you're going to get beat up or not. But if you go for it with confidence, it'll be a fight. Something's going to take place. A warrior. Energy. Confidence. Going for it. Shevite masters, Undamo Bharavaha, going for it as yet. Courage. Basic faith. Actually, Michael Egan has a great text, and I'm hoping him to come here also, on basic faith. And basic faith, basic faith, having basic faith isn't a function of certitude in front of you. You don't need faith or faith for that. But it's the capacity, that movement of going for it. You follow what I mean by that? So I call upon you, I invoke you, come here and inseparably establish yourself within me. Let's do that right now. So sometimes if you have good fortune and you experience the apparitional realm, you will see the deities, gods and goddesses appearing in front of you. That is simply an invitation. That is just a door opening. You're being flirted with. Hello. That is not the end point. And if we think it's the end point, then what could happen, it is not happening. And I actually had the experience with different people, because ultimately the apparition wants to land where? Where does the apparition want to be? In you, as you, and in your circumstances. So you're having a great gift at that moment, coming before you, the apparition, the energy. You with me? And you don't have to believe anything, just people have this. And if you're lucky, you have good fortune, and you're close to the Sambhogakaya realm, for whatever reasons, you're not just a logical, rational being, as Papa Sambhava would say, a little person, little man. And rather, that opens up for you and comes, but you take that in as your own self. It is a mirror of your own being. Say yes if you're understanding that.
Yeah.
Most of us hesitate at that point because we want to get help from that being. Help me! How about $1? Okay, maybe 10. You want to go beyond that with the invoking that in your own being as your own self, and as the having that capacity of transmission. It will always be more than you. It would always be bigger than you. But there's a bodhis invoking the divine archetypes in our own self. Sometimes they will relate to you as a companion. Sometimes if they're a companion with you, you don't have to have them come in you. You follow me? Then you have a companion, and that companion will be with you, and you invoke that companion forever and ever and ever. You with me? You have a sealing experience over sealing. It's a relational life. So then you have a relation. There's one way you become the archetypal. Another time, he or she is a companion. Both are empowering. Say yes if that's making sense. Okay? Then we're almost done. So in order to perfect this mandala of the container and the content, there is this mandala, this field that I am, which is this container that my body can hold all this, my mind can free itself, that it can embrace this, right? And the content is this drama that's arising around me, or I'm invoking. Then the mantra Tara Ara Sampara Benja Samaya Zazat. So Tam, sorry it takes so long here. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana are in reality nothing but openness, space. So all phenomena are space, but the space and of radiance. So radiance manifests everything. So space and radiance are in oneness. Huh? And in the history of we touched this last time, the history of the unfolding of Buddhism, the first turn of the wheel was mind as thought. It's all thought. That's it, just thought. Then it's 500, huh? And causality, what happens with our thought causes experience, and depending on that, you may be bitten by something 30 years later or 100 years later because you bit. So there's a direct relation with causality that way. Then comes the 2nd century AD, Narguna, great, considered the second Buddha. And the word Buddha here actually is not referring to a person anymore. It's referring to the primordial state of awareness, huh? And so, and he swims with the Nagas and goes deep and comes with the text, the Paramitra Sutra, and he starts describing emptiness as a cosmological function. Because in the first deal, there was no cosmology with what do you pronounce his name? No, the first Buddha, Gautama. Yeah, yeah. There was no. It was very mind as mind thought creates everything, and it happens, and that's it. There was no cosmological dimension. So when Buddha died, it was really when Gautama died. It was really a horrific period because what's going to happen here? Then, as we all know, out of things, out of loss, out of something not being complete, thought arises out of absence. It does. Out of absence, huh? Imagination arises out of absence. Where's the breast at, huh? Baby starts imagining it, huh? And all the vicissitudes. So the same thing with cultures, out of absence. Something new happens, right? And so the cosmological. But he would say nothing about it. He says you can't talk about it And then in the year 400 years, about 400 years later, a great Tantra arose, Uttara Tantra. And that's when the nature of mind is the Buddha or Shiva or Christos, but there is this ontological component to all of us that is wisdom gnosis, huh? Right? That's a big deal there. That was so. Then all the tantras start arising, huh? And there was also a more positiveness starts to arise. Up to this point, it was on the bit on the negative side, shall we say? Not this, and neither that either. And then it starts becoming more positive, and in that positiveness, appearances start also coming more, and you start having tantric rituals and ways of invoking this dimension. The archetypes also become more and more stronger. Even in the 2nd century, once there was a cosmology, you start elaborating cosmological realms. So that the Mahayana, I'm not trying to bore you with Buddhism, but to give you a sense how things develop over time. And you hear different teachers would speak from different places. And you decide where you want to get on the train. If it fits for you, maybe it doesn't. So the Mahayana starts to open up the archetypical dimension. So you start having these great, great tantras where Buddha's in the heavenly realms, in these other realms, and is with his people, and they discuss great things, and there's empowerments taking place. So you start to have the mystic development starts to open up, huh, of this whole archetypical dimension. Say yes if you guys are following this. Then we run up to the 8th century, 7th century in Tibet, because this is in India. And then you have the Gaudaba Tantra arises. And this is seed Tantra because it's on light, and appearances as light, huh? And the personification of the master of the Gaudaba Tantra was Padmasambhava. Okay, so the primordial guru as Padmasambhava. And here we know the guru is the light of our own awareness, but you start having a personification here of a person who is the light of radiance, and he has his companion, and this starts to unfold. And the teachings of the light start to happen. And in my little mind, that's the 4th turning of the wheel. Yes, please.
There's also, because Yeshitoga was more masculine and feminine.
It was the entire teachings involve the masculine. The feminine starts appearing in the 4th century, and I have a text here, if you like, called The Heart of the Yogini. And this is one of the great tantric texts on the Yogini, the 4th century text. I would buy this text and read it if you really like knowing about that and how it. I think history for me actually helps me see how things unfold in our own. Just like in therapy, our own narrative is not the whole game, but you really want to know the context of the narrative, huh? But the narrative can change, right? People can make changes to the narrative at level of narrative. But if you can access the archetypal realm, that is more powerful than narrative itself. Just like if I'm in mind alone, I'm rambling now a little bit. If I'm in my cognitive mind alone, I'm a person located in my mind alone. I'm a rational person. At this moment, looking disdain on this entire group, because this is really weird, right? I'm a scientist, objective, and I want to know the evidence. You with me? Except I have no experience whatsoever about anything. A lot of times, rational people, they undercut experience. They think it's facts. Meanwhile, having all these experiences about everything and anything, but that's foreclosed from the conversation. No offense. Okay. Then, one day, I know you guys have been just doing a little summary here, but there's a lot of useful therapy stuff that takes place at that level, right? When people are in their mind alone. Absolutely necessary. And that's why cognitive work and all this other thing is really, really useful. All this stuff is arranged. Some of the stuff we're talking about today is totally unuseful for people. Completely unuseful. It may be useful for you being with people, but may not be so specifically useful to them. Right? So a person starts to become aware of their mind. That's a great moment. Do you remember you became aware of your mind and a thought was a thought and wasn't actuality? A wish was a wish and not actual. It's a space between myself and my mind. That space is the opening of me or you beginning to experience the space of awareness. That little space. starts to open there. And then with that point we have mindfulness and we're aware of our mind. It's really good to do that. It's good to know the difference between the thought and the feeling. A lot of us don't know that. Even think about yourself when you start discovering, well, that's a thought. Well, that's an affect. Well, this is a wish. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Oh, wow, this is anger. This is a whole thing. Mindfulness helps us be aware of. It also helps us sustain attention. Because my attention is now not in my mind alone, but in my awareness. A lot of times, that's why mindfulness can help us with attentional issues, because I'm now not located my attentional faculty simply in my mind. So going back into this awareness of mind. Say yes, you guys following this. Here, a lot of experiential therapy takes place, right? A lot of the experiential therapies take place right here, because mind is thinking, feeling, sensation, memory, and it really, really helps work this over and work it through, and there can be the beginning of freedom taking place here, right? Then we can take another step. We can take the step where we become aware of awareness. I'm repeating this because I have to repeat it for myself as well as for you, because it's so easily forgotten and not used at all. It's just not used. And so we start to become aware of this awareness. We start to sit. And then we start feeling ourselves established in this awareness a little bit. And then we integrate our mind into it. That is a big deal. Because at this point, I am now starting to have a metabolism for experience. Much more powerful than my mind. And number two, as I'm starting to enter into this awareness of awareness, it begins to open for me. And to use Winnicott's words, it becomes the base for the appearance of the sense of self in a valid way. Because before this, and you see this in the history of psychoanalysis, there was no experiential self. There was no self. The self was a schema in my mind, the representations of my mind. It was cognition meeting cognition. It was the analytic mind being an analytic person and thinking about people from an analytic point of view. You with me? So raise your hands if this is making some sense. And so as this transitional space starts to open up, which starts to open, it doesn't mean this hasn't existed before this. It's meaning it's becoming a cultural moment. All of psychology is cultural moments. So a cultural moment is open, that was opened up in many other centuries and places, where I begin to have direct experience, not only of myself, but of you. You with me? I start having, and Winnicott describes it, and that's why he uses the mother-baby relationship, you with me, as a signifier of the non-duality that can be experienced in transitional space, right? This inside-to-inside connection. And then as I am feeling this inside-to-inside connection, where there's a baby or a person working with someone, out of that inside-to-inside connection, that space is opening, where I begin to experience the manifestation of a sense of self. A self-experience that's not located in my thinking function, that's not my feeling, that's not just my sensation. I'm actually starting to have a sense of self that is awareness, and I'm starting to integrate feelings and sensation, memory into this, and I'm now becoming a more full person, and I have greater capacity for change. Because if I'm in mind alone, I have a very narrow capacity for change. I can change my thoughts a bit. Or if I'm locked in sensation alone, I may have really a lot, like what pain does. I'm totally located in the pain, and there's no space for me to do anything with this. You guys following this? So as this transitional space opens up, to me, this, at least in this realm of the psychotherapy world, Jung was coming about this from his own way when he was trying to study the fluidity. How are these things communicated between each other? How if projection is so important and I'm projecting this on you and you're now projecting with that identification, and now that identification I'm relating to, and you're relating to my projection on you, and you're identifying with it, now you're becoming what I was afraid you were. It's true. And you're becoming that too, right? Sure, you've had some of this experience at least once or twice. So he was studying it from the point of view of medium. What's the medium here? So he began really starting to become a field person. He started locating himself in the field phenomena. You with me? Started looking at archetypical energies as field. Winnicott approaches it more from the point of view of awareness itself, just this pure awareness. So, you guys following this right now? So then, yes, please. Yes, please. We're gabbing today.
I hope this is helpful. I'm thinking about some recent experiences I've had, mostly with couples, where there's so much mind alone, there's so little self, and how challenging it is to sustain a connection to awareness in a way that can begin to cultivate that.
That is the key issue in couples therapy.
The allergy, the terror of being with the other when you don't have a self is so huge.
That is so true. I would love for you to write that up. No, you said it.
I'm not sure I can say it.
No, you said it. That is the terror of being in couple life.
Well, and the challenge as a therapist, like part of me just wants to like run out of the room. Like I do not want to tolerate this. It's so intolerable.
Yes, but you have something going for you, which it takes one to know one. So you know how intolerable it is. And you know how the parallel life is created. You experience why we want to avoid the other at all costs. You with me? Except for perhaps financial reasons, security, and social approbation and stuff. You know? a few other things come in the deal, right? Okay, it's worth it. So,
Isn't that why people stay together?
yeah, a lot of people stay together out of wish and hope. That's a really genuine way. So to know that, like you just said, it's so great. And then you're the third there, how you're trying to hold this state, you with me, for them. That doesn't guarantee, there's no guarantee, because you're only half the quotient, you with me? But if you're there symbolizing that, and if there's enough opening, then maybe that can take place. The base begins to open. And sometimes the base doesn't start in ourself. The base starts between us. You with me? Say yes if you understand that. The base doesn't start within me. Oh, I feel this in her. You with me? And I don't know what it is, but I feel it in her. And then if I tolerate it, I start to feel it in me. That's why a lot of people seemingly have alexithymia. Alexithymia. A lot of smart people especially. And alexithymia means I can't reference my inner experience. You with me? I can be really super duper smart and I can know everything about everything, and yet I don't reference my inner experience. I can think a feeling in time and I can then figure out an affect, but I can't really feel my experience. That's why the great shift into the experiential therapies, when we can make that shift, allows the beginnings of relational life to actually take place. Up to this point, it's interpersonal. It is strictly an interpersonal thing. How are you doing with our little discussion here as I'm rambling on?
Well, what I went to when you were speaking about how it doesn't always start inside ourselves.
Yep.
That it sometimes need to find it or source it relationally is I think my capacity to sit with that terror while somebody's in that terror is maybe the doorway.
Yes. For you to sit with that terror is a doorway. Now we're going to take a step, and you take one more step beyond this. we're now going to take awareness is now opening for us. Okay, awareness is opening. Awareness is now starting to open, and I'm feeling awareness, I'm contemplating awareness, I'm starting to hold it with you, and then suddenly terror arises. Now, who writes about this, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, is Padmasambhava. And Padmasambhava was talking about the terror of the light. We actually, 2 weeks ago, we spoke of the terror of the light. So here's this little couple, and I'm now terrified. Because I feel this beckoning to have this happen, but I'm actually terrified. So at one level of psychology, I am terrified. This is why we're looking at things multidimensionally in this room. At one level, I'm terrified of being overwhelmed. I'm terrified of being consumed. I'm terrified about something I know. I'm terrified about the impotency I'm feeling at this moment. There's different words, but actually I'm terrified. When you shift it to a multidimensional level, if you want to, not that you're going to talk it, you will see a person being terrified by the light of their own awareness starting to dawn. What's it like to, because we all know this stuff, what's it like to see this being multidimensional, also at this profound level, though you might not use these words? It is the fantastic opportunity. And then we have to find that in ourselves also, that exactly the same process. I bet you there's nobody here who's not experienced terror. You with me? The terror of the light. And so I often use the metaphor of Joao, because it was so interesting. And he says, I will now tell you the secret of shamanism. Okay. Holding the light and terror. But that's also the secret of what you're talking about right now as a couples therapist. You with me? And it's also to see phenomena to these different levels is itself liberating. To see the unfolding of Dharma, because I think the little historical thing, every human being goes through it. We park our wagon at certain ways down the line. You with me? So to see that multidimensional taking place right in your office, you know, and it looks like this obnoxious moment, here we go again, you know, and yet it's this profound step towards liberation. And it's not going to be in church. It may be in church, but at this moment, for those people, that's not the circumstance. I like this view myself. It makes everything interesting. How are you doing right now?
I'm just with you. There's certainly there's certainty for me in what you're saying, and at the same time, there's a not knowing exactly how that will happen.
Okay, how does any of us know what's going to happen when we're in awareness? The fact that you're in awareness, and the more that you're touching timelessness, which you are, is we've started experiencing indeterminacy. The causal world, eat this, die. The causal world of causality. Skip is going to write for us the history of causality one time. I know it's on his chart. It is. Because the history of causality, this does that to that. It's a metaphor, but it's never quite the actuality, right? Even Narguna said that all this stuff about causality, we think we know more than we know in the 2nd century. You doing okay with this? So it's always this indeterminance. Every time we're into awareness right now, then we find, oh, we're in this indeterminate space. And then we start shrinking from indeterminacy, and at that moment we're shrinking from freedom. Because freedom and indeterminacy are this close, right? Having a good time? I'm just feeling all the energy coming from you. Yes, please.
Talk more about
Yep.
and on the non-doing,
Yep.
and talking about, my sense of that is what you're talking about when you're talking about this causality. That when we act out of some other thing other than an attempt to make something happen.
Yes. That is true. Let me talk it this way. In a certain way, the more causalities from my mind, sometimes it's very useful in certain issues of facticity. You with me? Should I drive this way? Should I drive that way? So it's not disparaging of logic. You with me? But in the sea of awareness, as I enter the sea of awareness, they speak about it being the non-causal approach, because we're undercutting all that. Watch this. It looks like I did that with my hand, right? But in the pure Dzogchen, that just happened. It manifested in me, around me, and through me. You with me? So it's spontaneous. So they're suspending part of the mind and that looks at things causally. You with me? And to be meeting situations spontaneously, moment after moment after moment, effortlessly. But the effortlessly does not mean that there's no action, because the action is arising as much as, if I'm in tune to it, from primordial awareness arising up, coming into time. You with me? And that is why a lot of people who have this capacity, it's very hard to plan things with them. You with me? This is true. This is true. Spontaneously, something's supposed to happen, and it's not arising that way. And these people call it. You with me? So they often, because they know that circumstances, and really good psychics, they tend to operate out of the circumstances also, and without a clear prediction frame. You with me? Because that's not quite how the whole thing unfolds. This making sense?
That's what you did this morning. You started out with one thing.
You know, we're wandering around.
That's what, because when you're doing that, you're tuned into what's here now,
In the here and moment, yeah. Right.
rather than a thought of what ought to be here and wasn't
Yeah.
a minute ago. You're tuned into
Right.
what's here, so you're much more effective
Yes.
in dealing with what's here.
What's immediately unfolding in the moment, and to the degree that I'm going from linear time into timelessness, or even the archetypical energy, and feeling those energies, and then going into timeless awareness. And even if we talk this way, it is not useful to think about this as some super duper person. As soon as you do that, you're out the game. That's why understanding it allows us access. So we're going to continue on. Oh my God, just almost done with the text here. So in the center of the mandala, that means this sphere, S-P-H-R-E, that is Tara. Okay, in the center of the heart, upon this lotus and lunar disc is the white tom, and it's like liquid diamond, viscous. It's like viscous diamond. It's this liquidity. You can see where the heart essence tradition comes, the heart drops come from this stuff. You with me? This transfer of this dimension into another person, right? This transfer of this. And surrounded by the mantra mala, like a necklace of pearls, the radiance gathers up the vital essence of the elements. So this energy goes out, and we start bringing the elements in. This is where I think of Yen Qin, who would do this, talked about the same thing in Qigong. The Qigong master, he would send the energy out, and then they had something called Bijou, which I never graduated to, which is you didn't eat food, you ate the elements, or how they describe it as eating the air. With me? So I amuse you right now. One time I was invited to a place in Toronto. I may have told this story. Go to Toronto. It was a mixture of Yenchen Qigong people, and sort of being the only American there, I was invited to these things. So Sharon and I go there, and they're going to have a dinner, okay? I am always ready for dinner, right? And so it's very nice, and Yenchen was really exquisite as he was. And so there's food, and so pass food around, but no one's eating the food. I'm eating the food. What's wrong with that? Right. But many of them were on Bigu, and Bigu was they didn't eat food. They ate the air. You with me? And I knew some of the people personally, and they actually did that. You with me? And they ate it. And usually, eventually he stopped it because people were going too long on it. He said it's a really good thing to do for 6 weeks or 6 months. But then you start showing off about it. You know, never eat, and then people start getting really, really skinny too much. So yeah. So because they take the elements and consume the elements, they would drink water though. So this is referring to that. But here we're taking the elements in regards to the nutrients of the elements, earth element. There's even stuff on that right now called earthing, okay? And inflammation, right? You've been reading about earthing and inflammation? Okay. Earthing has to do with by being close to the earth, like being in the basement, barefoot, laying on the ground, that they're discovering supposedly, and I have some of these books coming, that earthing helps dissolve inflammation. And if you're up in the air all the time, it increases inflammation for whatever reasons I don't know. So the whole earthing issue, being into the earth, into the ground, helps dissolve inflammation. To me, again, that's that's taking a contemporary way of looking at an element. Yes, please.
Well, you talk about, because part of the Tara.
Yep.
So where does the lotus come from? That connection deep into the earth.
Into the earth.
Through the muck and the mud.
Through the muck and the mud.
And the wetness.
The wetness.
Up into it, and then I think of the moon.
The moon.
Holds it.
Yes.
Is that reflective, emotional, divine
Feminine tone. Yeah.
So it's interesting that those are also part of that.
I like the element stuff a lot. And remember we took the Yeshe talk, not talk, the Yeshe Lama. It starts off, Yagami, the lady says, it used to be based in the elements. Right now it's not based in the elements. But there's a whole aspect of Dzogchen that is the elements. You with me? And Dorje Rinpoche's son has a great book on that. But that's where we like going to the elements, right? Bringing the we could even do that right now with each other. Yes, please.
Practically, there's a group in Sweden, a construction group, that before they work, they take off their shoes and they stand for 10 minutes on the earth.
Cool.
And this guy comes in and goes, "Oh, what is this bullshit? I'm keeping my shoes."
Yes,
He had an accident. So
that's right. That is right.
they figured out that the earthing and
The
I
ground.
always remember that.
Yeah, that grounding thing. I'm gonna get some books on that. Yes, please.
There are earthing masks that you
You can buy. Yes, you can. Do you have? I've been thinking about getting one.
bring it.
Do you like? Why don't you bring it? Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I think, what is it? It's an earthing mat. There's a company that,
Right.
there's a book on it.
Yeah, I've been looking at those.
Mattress, sheets and everything, that it's that feeling of putting your feet on the ground,
Yeah.
grounding. But it can, for different people, it does different things.
Of course, because different people have different elements in them.
I got it because I thought it would be great for clients.
Yes.
You have to plug it into something in the wall.
Mhm.
A grounding wire. In my office.
Oh, you need a ground. You need a grounding wire. Okay, almost done. Here we go. Almost done with this. Here we go. Blah blah blah. So this purifies. Okay. So, and dissolving the mantra into the heart, it causes the nectar of deathlessness to flow. So this deathless awareness. Sometimes we can feel this liquid-like state. And so it's coming through our body, which is awareness, becoming more flesh, right? More viscous. And it comes through our body, and it says purifying all our predispositions, karma, and emotional stuff. It starts coming through, and it starts clearing up the experience. And then leaves the body through the pores, right? This is also in Yenchen Qigong. You leave, right? We've done that many times. You leave, the energy comes through your pores. But here we add a little extra style to it. because it goes into the mouth of the Lord of Death. The Yama is there. But it's a great symbol, right? Freeing yourself from premature death. Fully satisfying him and causing him great joy and bliss, that he dissolves back into the unborn space of absolute reality. And therefore, then I begin to experience genuine mastery of deathlessness, deathless awareness. And that's enough for right now. So let's hold awareness with each other a little bit. And let's pair up right now. Let's pair up with a person, okay? And you guys can pair up on the internet with each other, right? Can you see somebody you can pair up with? Because where we're going, as you go into that awareness, that field awareness opens up, right? So awareness opens up and becomes this field. Then when you're in the field, you start integrating your mind into that field. That if you stay long enough in the field, we're going to pay attention for one more minute. I'm going to complete the little summary. If you stay in the field, wait, we're going to pay attention. Just another minute. One more second, guys. So you're in the field. You're now in awareness of awareness. You're in the field, and yeah. So you're wearing an awareness. The field's dimensions start to open up. So the dimensions of the field start to open up, right? Naturally. And what are the dimensions? Sometimes just pure awareness. Sometimes the archetypical dimension, like we've been working with the other space. Like that's what we're going to work again today. And then sometimes just plain ordinary awareness. But if you have to be in the field for a long time, somebody can sit with me if you want to. You have to be in awareness a long time. You guys follow the last part? Say yes if you do. So you're starting to live in the field. You're in awareness, and then awareness starts to give itself as a gift to you, and it starts to appear to you. It starts to manifest its dimensions. It starts to manifest it. So that's why practicing some of these practices help open up these dimensions. How many people feel they have awareness in the field as ordinary life? Raise your hands. You should have that now. Yes, you do. Come on. You have to be both. How many people feel awareness? Do you feel awareness right now? This is ordinary life. You feel it now. You just have to feel it one time. How many people feel this right now? The field. Okay. How many feel the field as we were describing with working with some of the people as this space opening up, this energy opening up, this light opening up? That is the archetypical dimension. How many people experience red light sometimes, just red light, or blue light, light blue light, dark blue light, green light, no light? How many people experience apparitions like Holy Mary or the Divine Mother? How many people see that? How many people see dakinis, huh? How many people feel the Dakini presence? A lot of people feel or hear the Dakini presence. Okay. How many people smell the aromas arising? Okay. Okay. How many people can feel afraid psychologically? How many feel the fear of terror at the level of awareness? That is a really good distinction to make. You with me? Knowing that difference. How many people can feel when the person feeling, you can feel the person in their mind, and then you can feel the terror actually arising from deeper? How many can feel that? You with me? Okay. How many people can feel the awakening of energy in their lower body arising? That is archetypal level. How many feel the energy coming up to the navel and have finally getting stuck? Sure. Right, stuck. How many feel the energy coming right up into their breast, that little doorway? How many feel that happening? How many feel their tongue touching their mouth, the palate of their mouth, naturally? How many people feel the liquid heart essence? I know you guys feel that. Okay, so let's hold awareness together, okay? And then next week we're going to work again. Oh, next week we have that person coming. Mary Reed's coming. We'll do that next week. And next week we'll talk about apparitions and hallucinations. Okay? Yes, please.
In my experience, a sequence can happen that takes you to that deeper
Okay,
level,
great.
which is that a particular situation
Mm-hmm.
can bring up a psychological
Right.
unease, and then as I metabolize that, that means feeling it in my entire being instead of just thinking about it or
Yes.
disconnecting from it. And then as I feel it in my entire being, that in turn opens me either to further openness or to the deeper tone.
Yes. Would you write on that? Just 2 pages. Yeah. You follow that? You with me? So that takes it. Now sometimes, what she said there can be reversed. Pay attention to me. It can be reversed, where I'm feeling this terror at this absolutely beyond words level. And I then start reversing it up and making it a simple psychological sequence that someone was mean to me yesterday. And I really feel bad about it. You follow me? So it can also go the other way, which is more of an obsessive compulsive way of dealing with this. You with me? So I go into an obsessive compulsive state about a piece of singularity. You with me?
Yeah.
And this piece of singularity, I get located in that. We want to pay attention, okay, for a minute. I'm located in that. And it really becomes amazingly powerful. And actually, what is more, that is only a containment of the more powerful, awesome, unthinkable, unbearable terror. And the terror is, we can think of it initially as death anxiety. But annihilation anxiety is death anxiety hyped up on amphetamines. You with me? Because it is like ontological anxiety of everything totally non-existing. You with me? And to tolerate that and work in that is really, all of us in the path of awareness, we have to face that. Yes, please.
This might sound awkward, but sometimes actually for me it is almost like this also the anxiety of being.
Say it again, hon.
The anxiety of being.
Yes.
Like the being.
The anxiety of
Yes.
being itself. That's also, you can think of Rollo May's first book, one of his great books would be on that, the anxiety of being itself. Not simply death, but being itself. Because that person has a awareness of the uncanniness and the infinity of being itself. When you have that, there's the uncanniness, infinity of being itself. And then all this opens up this dimension of being itself as terror.
But Marie, in your timeline of the Buddhism, you know, it started with thought, and then you got into the body. But what I was waiting for, and I'm wondering if what we're talking about now is that this next step is about feelings, because it's the overwhelm of the emotions. I think it doesn't matter what the emotion is. You know, for me sometimes it's gratitude,
Yep.
and then the gratitude is too big.
Yep.
I mean, we don't know.
I'm glad you're bringing it up because early Buddhism was really a psychologist. If I could say anything about Buddha, he was a great psychologist, and he created a psychology. You with me? And it was really a psychology that tried to negotiate life in a communal way, in many ways. But the word feeling is a double entendre in awareness. For instance, I can have an emotional reaction right now because I don't know where I am in today's scheduled talk. Okay, what happened to this talk? So I'm now annoyed and pissed off. You with me? Now that annoyance and pissed off is a psychological thing. But as you go into awareness, bhavana, you start having experiences that are not emotional but are feelings. feeling is a word that has double entendres here. You with me? I can feel terrified of something. You with me? And certain type of psychological methods can really help me with this type of terror. You with me? You can think of many ones for fear. But there's another level, and we've touched this over and over again. And who mentioned Longchenpa? Longchenpa goes into this with some depth. That awareness itself has a feeling to it, but it's not mind. There are feelings, and also Kashmir Shaivism and different masters will go into this. There's feelings that are not mine, but it's not an emotion. It is not an emotion reaction. It is more like a mood, and Heidegger touches this also, that is ontological. Yes, please.
Emotion is a feeling that is determined by a thought.
Yes.
It's confined by a thought. Either it starts it or ends it. So that thought contains.
Yes. The reading of a situation too.
Yeah. And so what you're talking about is a broader feeling. It's not connected.
It is not connected to mind. So there is a level of awareness that is not connected to mind as such. You with me? And that level is where that differentiation of mind from this awareness is really important. And sometimes this happens with people. It's happened to everyone here, I bet you, that there's come a place in your life and the problem is solved. And at the moment the problem is solved, the true manifestation of the terror that's beyond mind, beyond thought, beyond desire, beyond that arises. And then we're faced with that ontologically. It's like an ontological mood, but it's not at the level of mind. Very little is written of this actually, and some of the yogis do talk about this. Longchenpa talks about it. Muktananda would talk about it. And Rollo Mays, why he came up this morning, also would speak about this. How many people feel some resonance to this? You with me? Okay. It's very tricky. I'm sorry we're hanging on this today. You really want to know about this because some of your dilemma you think is psychological, but because you've been meditating for god-awful long, it's part of what's taking place because your mind has less input and you're now in the realm of psyche. Jung also writes about this too, makes a differentiation between mind and awareness. And this distinction between mind and awareness is a fundamental distinction that goes with Dzogchen from this point of view. And I think we'll pick this up again next week when our wonderful guest comes, okay? Because what's psychological and what is ontological? Padmasambhava talks about this. Now, one more thing. I'm doing a lot of talking today. I lost my book on Padmasambhava, which a book I love, and so I asked Erin to lend me her copy because she had Xeroxed it. It's good to lend books out and have people Xerox them, because the book itself costs $200 right now. It's out of print by Herbert Gunther. But then I went down to Raj's. Okay, the guy who has the store. He's been here for 100 years, and I asked him to make a copy for me and an extra copy, which he's going to do. I think for $30. Okay. If you guys want copies, you can think about it, and next week you let me know, and then I will know for sure if we can do this deal. And you're going to bring cash. Do not want checks for $30, okay? And you bring $30, and I'll get you a copy of this book. But what Longchenpa goes into is a big part on beyond the rational mind is the terror of the light, because human beings are beings of light. You with me? And these beings of light. And as we start to awaken to the light, not just in terms of, as Heidi was pointing out, in terms of death, that still has a mind quality, but we're in timeless awareness, and yet being itself, the light itself, becomes terrifying. And you create, Otto, very famous person, this awesomeness, the awesomeness of God. Huh? And you can see when you read the great mystics, and I'm glad this priest is coming who knows a lot about the Gnostics. The Gnostics would also be on the terror of the divine, the terror of divine experience. So sometimes we can be blaming such and this and that, and actually it is much more fundamental. Raise your hands if you're thinking about this right now in certain areas that you may have.
I think it's reciprocal. I think the terror invokes the light too.
Terror can invoke the light. Terror is the light. Thank you, guys. So let's focus on each other right now. A wandering day. So let's extend to each other. We're going to extend from our lower chakras first into each other. That's grounding, right? You can feel the ground arising. Sometimes when you extend to the lower chakra, you extend lower into the ground itself. Then you walk up the column. In your own body, this is a mirroring thing can take place. If we're in indivisibility already, the mirroring process takes place. So we can extend into the navel. Then this whole body becomes full, the planum. Then we extend from there into the belly, unfolding. And you can have it unfolding. It's really cool. If it's unfolding in you, then it'll be more out of resonance. It'll help unfold the other. And if both of you guys are doing it together, it has twice as much power, because two awarenesses are better than one. Then it unfolds into the heart, little doorway. And then unfolds into the mouth, palate of the mouth, eyes, top of head. And then we're going to invoke the dimension of Tara. Don't do an image in your mind. Just feel the invocative power. The invocative power doesn't use images. It just does it. Then if it doesn't work, we'll use images. Like you're just invoking that dimension you heard. Say yes if you feel something arising. So it's like being in a seat together, rising up. Blissed emptiness. From within the heart itself, allow yourself to sit back in there. Pause. At this moment, we can continue as we're doing, or if you want, you can pause. And then the other side of the teaching, you'll see it both in Nigma and Kagyu, and you see it in Shaivism. If you want, you could just drop back, going into the purity of being itself. For a moment, dropping beyond appearance. Are you there? Then you come back into appearance. And you will be bringing more with you of the pure state. Pure state is not better than in the states, it's different functions. So then we'll extend again. And then now, let us enter into the other person. Let's enter into each other. And this can also bring forth that terror of intimacy, right? Or sexual distraction can also arise, and you free yourself from that. Or integrate that. You integrate it. You bring it in. You integrate, metabolize. Then there's more energy. There's more presence. The unfolding of the Kundalini the unfolding of the sexual energy and the light simultaneously allows the opening of all the chakras and allows the assimilation of the sexual instinct to become light. And there's a freedom in that. Say yes if you're understanding what I'm talking about for the Tantras. Now, ideally, I've been thinking about this for a couple of years. It would be great if for each month you'd have a different partner, and then you guys call each other on the phone, or you work, or you meet, and you hold the feel with each other for a while. You with me? Do not go psychologically. Do not use it. Do not go psychological. You're only meeting to hold awareness by the phone and articulate that experience. So I'm going to check in with Skip now. Just for Skip, how you doing? What's happened?
Very expansive.
What's it like to have that expansiveness?
The phrase that comes to mind is inviting.
It's inviting. And at this moment, you're going beyond circumstances and beyond your mind. So to feel that freedom within circumstances is amazing, right? Now, we can dissociate, but dissociation is not an expansive state. This is why knowing things experientially is really helpful. So that expansiveness, Skip is in his body, expanding beyond the body. That is not a dissociative moment. Say yes if you understand that. Now, how do I know that? Because I feel it. So one of the things, we'll pick this up on next Tuesday, is how we know this stuff is because we've been practicing for a long time being attuned. We still have to check it out, but if we're in it together, what you're experiencing, I am perceiving, right? It doesn't mean I'm a mind reader. I don't know what's on his mind. I actually don't want to know. You with me? I do want to know the experience of the field. Say yes if you're understanding. Sometimes people with a lot of psychic capacity, they spend their time reading other people's minds. You can do that sort of thing if you want. You with me? But really and truly, you're not really using your talent where it might be, which is more working with the field of awareness and directness. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying here. Anybody want to share their experience right now? Any place? Anybody having an apparition? Fran, how you doing? How you doing, Fran?
I'm good. I'm great.
What's happening?
I'm feeling this just deep quiet, and comfortable with myself.
What's it like just from being in that deep space of the stillness and totally comfortable with it?
There's no anxiety, there's no fear with it, which is such a relief.
Great. So she's passed beyond that level of anxiety. I like how she frames it too. She's beyond that level right now. You with me? So when we think about ourselves being in different dimensions, it's a good working metaphor. Kay, how you doing right now?
Wordless. talked about the lower chakras and the desire, just what arose for me was to take that sexual desire and drop it down into the earth really, really, really deeply. And then I saw a red, non-hot, but red flame come from the center of the earth in between us here. And that stayed for quite a while. And I was hoping that Erin wouldn't get burned. And that it was okay for her. Because it was quite, it was a strong image. And then as you were talking, then the flame dissolved in water, non-wet water. It was hard to describe, not even like a shower, but just like water coming down. And then just before, I couldn't speak when you asked me, because just before you asked me, the water dissolved, and I thought I was feeling the brush of the Garuda birds, but then I felt like I was inside a cloud, but I wasn't inside a cloud, and it wasn't the Garuda birds, but it was definitely air. And then you asked me to speak, and it was hard.
Yes, I love how you're describing your apparitional experience of the elements, huh? Very, very beautiful. Jen, how you doing? What's happening?
I liked what you said.
Oh, we have two, okay?
There's another
We'll do both. We'll do both. We'll do Jen first. Jen, yes.
when you invited us to invoke the energy of the Kenya deity, Tara. Before that, I had felt all this lovely energy rising
Mm-hmm.
from the ground up to the heart, and that felt like this thick white cloud of blessing that just came from above and just permeated around and into me.
Beautifully described. She's also helping us understand sometimes in these invocations, it comes from above like a blessing, right? Like grace from above. And then sometimes more like eminence arising from within. Thank you so much. And Jan, what's happening for you?
When you said to bring in the purity,
Yep. The pure awareness state.
the pure awareness state, it was so interesting to bring the Dharmakaya into the Sambhogakaya,
Mm-hmm.
so that the vortexual experience of the radiance, it sort of became a fluid, radiant experience of more stillness. There was a lot of movement prior to that, and then bringing in the pure aware mind brought in that stillness and intensified the radiance.
Beautifully described. Would someone who wants to describe their experience, would you like to describe what's happening? Someone who really doesn't want to. We're covering the field here. Just really don't want to. Okay. Hi, Janie.
Well, I was feeling like Mahler and I were, I guess not merged, but I felt us within each other.
Within each other, inside to inside.
And at some point, my heart felt very tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess it was fear or terror. And it's still there a little bit, but more less.
Cool. I'd like just to make a little comment, may not be true. Sometimes when we enter into this union, this is really the mysterious conjunctio. You with me? It is a state of conjunctio, a state of union with the person. And there is this indivisibility. It could be the tightness, can be out of a psychological thing, but also sometimes the tightness is simply that door is now opening. You with me? More often than not, unless you feel a lot of emotionality, but just this tightness, like, you with me? Then that door is starting to open into the cavern of the heart at a deeper level. And I know with you it's open, but sometimes it closes and it opens and closes. So as we enter into, sometimes there's real pain in this area. It's like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Ugh. And but there's a tension, there's a tightness, and it literally feels almost like, and then as we do it longer, it starts to open. Now, sometimes we're going to have Marla touch you with her hand right below your breast, that little doorway, that little point, right, or a finger, and she's going to release energy. And you maybe use your thumb because it's a little bit more secure, the thumb, and just touch there. And just like you're releasing your affection and love from your inner heart to her. And then just move the fascia a little bit. Sometimes it's like all the movement here has power of the energy, so you don't have to really, it's not like giving a massage. And Jenny, what's that like as she touches you there? What's happening there, hon?
Well, first as you were talking, I felt like my whole body was softening.
Softening?
More emotional. I mean, no emotion in particular.
Just
Emotion.
Just emotion, yeah. Emotion, yes.
And then with while we're touching, my heart's pounding a little.
Uh-huh.
But it's a soft pounding.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like I'm having a heart attack.
It's a pulsation like.
It's a pulsation, but my whole body feels more open.
More open. That word open, when she's using that word, is really the primordial openness beginning to have a felt sense. You with me? Primordial openness, that basic openness arising in this openness, this space. They use different words, openness, space. Sometimes they would use emptiness, but this openness to me is the most direct word. And this openness opens. Then we can go back and think of Heideggerian philosophy, where he spoke about das Sein, which actually in his later translation simply meant the openness of there. So that inner openness is opening. And then, so then you can go further. That openness will embrace you and Marla even deeper now. The power of awareness work is because it's so primary, it can, that's why working with the light is so direct and so fast. It can cut through a lot of stuff if a person has the talent. And it's quicker. And then if we're just trying to do everything through emotions and thoughts, that's a long, long haul. You with me? And so it's something when we can work this way and a person can work this way, it's cutting through. That's why I use the word cutting through. It cuts through. It cuts through a lot of stuff and just opens it up very, very directly. It doesn't say things don't come back, right? But if you're sustaining your life in awareness more and more and more, it becomes less probable of everything closing up. And once it's really open, as it says in that great poem, The Song of Awareness, it will never close up so darkly. With that, let's rub our hands together. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. See you guys next week. And maybe I will give this text to someone. I'll see if I can send it to Amy, and you guys can get it, the text of the White Tower, if you like it. Thank you, guys. Next week, we're going to have a guest coming. See you later. Bye, guys.
Is that the text you did in the church?